use a 21mm socket. Remove these two caliper bolts. I'm going to use a 14mm wrench. And if the caliper pins are spinning, you can use either a wrench or some pliers to hold them, to prevent them from spinning while you take these out. Now if you need to, you can compress the caliper slightly with a screwdriver. Just pry in between the rotor and the caliper. I'll slide it off. And I'm going to use a brake caliper hanger and just find a place to hang it from so that there's no tension on the brake hose. Take the brake pads off. If you have to, just pry them out with a screwdriver. Take the brake caliper bracket off. Use a 19mm socket. Take these two bolts out. And slide the bracket off. Now take the rotor off. If it's stuck on, you can take a hammer and just hit in these areas. Just be careful of the studs. And slide them off. Take a wire brush and just clean up the hub surface. If there's any rust or corrosion on there. Now we're going to clean up the brake caliper bracket. Just take a straight blade screwdriver. Take off the pad slides or these clips. You can take a wire brush, just clean up some of the rust buildup. And take a little brake caliper grease, just give it a nice thin coat. Take the new pad slides or pad clips, slide those in position. And another thin coat of caliper grease. And you can do the same on the other side. Now take the brake caliper pins out. Just slide those off. You can take some brake parts cleaner. Wash these off. And just wipe it down. If it was extremely corroded, you could take a wire brush, a circle wire brush. It fits in there. Something like a pipe cleaner. Spray some brake parts cleaner in there. Clean that out. Could even use a rag. Clean that out real good. Take some brake caliper grease. Grease up the pin. Slide it in, make sure it seals properly around the boot, and do the same on the other side. On the old rotor, there's a plug right here. You want to just take a screwdriver, just pop this rubber plug out. You're going to reuse it for the new one. Take the new rotor, take that plug, just line that up. Take a screwdriver and just push it in. That looks good. Take the rotor. We're going to slide it on backwards first. Take some brake parts cleaner. Just wash it off. Wipe it down with a rag. Now we're going to flip it around. Before I put it on, I am going to put a little anti-seize on the hub. Just a nice thin coat. Now before we put the rotor on, if you have to adjust the parking brake shoes, there's an adjuster right here. You can use a screwdriver and just turn that one way or another to tighten them or loosen them. And slide the rotor on straight. Take some brake parts cleaner. Just clean this side and wipe it down. Now slide the bracket in place and put the bolts in. Now torque these 2 bolts to 76 foot-pounds. Now install the brake pads. And the one on the outside as well. Take the brake caliper hook off. And we want to compress the caliper, so you need a brake caliper compressing tool. And just nice and slow, compress the caliper. This is just pushing the piston into the caliper. As you do this, it's going to push brake fluid through the hoses, through the lines, back up into the master cylinder reservoir. Now slide the caliper over the brake pads. And put the bolts in. And torque these bolts to 24 foot-pounds. If the stud starts spinning, you can use some pliers or a wrench that fits on that. Now install the wheel. Put the lug nuts on. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 98 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Just go around again, double check. And you want to pump the brake pedal nice and slow. Once that feels good, you should be all set. And check the fluid level and adjust accordingly.